our staff created a list just of like a Word doc of the policies, objectives, and implementations. Have you received that? Because I don't think I remembered to send it to Middletown. I would have sent it to you.
I don't recall seeing that.
I'm going to do it right now.
Okay.
And I'll send out the Word doc for the policies because that's our second deliverable for the virtual meetings. And then design guidelines and special study areas, I'll just send in a PDF and hopefully we can just talk about it.
Okay, perfect.
Do you remember? So we got to transportation improvements, but I don't think we finished. We've still got some questions to go through on the second survey.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, let's see.
I want to say
yeah.
I want to say we got like halfway through it.
I think so, yeah. Improve roadway safety, transportation connectivity. Okay. There we go. That's question 14. I think we're going to start at 15.
And where's everyone else?
Huh?
I said, where is everyone else?
Did not tell you.
It is a beautiful day.
It is gorgeous.
You have anything planned after this, or are you working all day today?
No, I'm not working all day. I am going to Miley's house to harvest her persimmon tree.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't get any persimmons this year.
Well,
we lost them.
If you're coming to Lakeport, I'm your man.
Okay.
I'm your woman. I'm going to have bags.
Wow. Excellent.
Yes. The whole community development department is going to be well stocked in persimmons.
Yeah, I think that heat spell just hit at the wrong time. And I mean, the tree, I have 2 persimmon trees and they're both empty.
Wow. That's awful.
Yeah, that and the figs. I think I got a handful, maybe a dozen of figs.
Huh. I got a lot. I have a fig tree. It was wonderful. I'm taking out the cherry plum tree because I hate those.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put in a loquat because I love loquats.
You have a lot of space for trees?
Not really. No, I've got a fig over in the corner coming up this way, and the cherry plum thinks that the whole yard should be for cherry plums. So I have all kinds of baby cherry plums all over the yard.
Right.
Taking that out. Yeah. And then rose bush that got into the cherry plum tree. And that's really pretty. So, but that's got to get trimmed down too. It's kind of a little crazy.
Hey, but so that's why you have like a friend like Miley that has trees, right?
Exactly.
Has space.
I live a good life by picking my friends wisely. So, you know.
Perfect. Yeah, I got to get over and see Miley's new place. If she'll invite me, if she'll have me over for a glass of wine or something.
I am sure she would love that. Oh, it is really just you and me. What's up, guys? Well, hey,
Bill,
we're going to get a lot done.
Yeah, Bill Waite sent me over the agenda, sent me over some information. I was almost certain he was planning to join us.
Well, maybe people will stream in a little bit. I just finished this email to everybody.
Okay. Are you typing and talking? You multitasker?
Yeah, so I'm probably going to type Monica in my text. Yay! Thanks for coming, Greta.
Hi, Greta. Did you send that email?
Not yet. I wanted to add in our scheduled meetings too while I'm sending an
Okay.
email.
All right. Oops, darn it. Didn't mean to do that.
Can't open your mic or your camera. Huh. Hey, Pam. Thanks for coming today.
Hi. It's me and Dawn. We're just on one profile though.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Dawn. Hey, oh, well, I'll ask you about Amy's stuff later. Just hoping she's doing okay.
Yes, she is. She's doing all right.
Okay, good. All right. Oh, wait. I don't remember if I added you, Monica. So is it Our Vineyards at Sonic? That's the one that came
Yes,
up. I thought you had another one. Okay.
Yes.
And I'll add our usual folk who visit most of the meetings. That's it. Okay. All right, let's get started. Greta, I'm going to keep the chat open so you can participate that way, and we'll see if you have messages until you can get your.
Yeah, I wonder if she needs to just back out and re-enter the meeting again and follow the prompts.
It might. Ruby said she would. Oh, Ruby doesn't work on Saturdays. Let's see, hold on. Let me text her though. Maybe she knows what we can do. Okay, so for the rest of us, we are going over the second survey, the remainder, starting at question 15. I'll pull that up. Hey, Ruby, period. Sorry to bother you on a weekend, period. Can you tell me how to help Greta get her sound and camera going on our LAPAC meeting that we have right now? Question mark. I am happy to help her, period. But I'm at a loss on how to do that. Thanks! Exclamation point. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, good. Note takers. Thank you. Okay, so I just texted, darn, happens to you regularly. Yeah, I think I remember that. All right, I texted Ruby. Maybe she'll answer me back. And until then, let's go ahead and get started.
So
Hey, Greta, do you want to call in by phone?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Sure.
So it'd be a good idea if I knew what the number was. Let's see.
So is Pamela I see note taker. So
Yeah.
she's staff.
Pamela is one of our AmeriCorps CERT team that have been with us this whole time, doing a lot of the surveys and actually just a ton of the surveys. All right, there's the phone number, Greta. I'm going to go.
Nice to meet you, Pamela.
Yes. And so they ended up, I bet they didn't realize it, but they're getting a really big education on governmental and planning processes. But seriously, we have them to thank for the robust number of survey returns that we've gotten. There's no way we would have gotten nearly as much without this whole team just like not being scared, just jumping in, coming alongside people and getting surveys done. It's been really very helpful.
Thank you.
Okay. Greta should call in. Hopefully, just put the number, the password, and the whatchamacallit in the chat. Let's get started because we don't have a lot of time. Excellent. I can hear you. Welcome to the meeting. All right. Question 15. And let me pull that up while we're thinking. How should the county protect, preserve, and manage historic and cultural resources? The top answer from the multiple choice, and the top answer doesn't really signify a lot. It's not like people didn't like the other answers, but it was to prioritize preservation and adaptive reuse.
And I think we did talk about that a little bit.
Did we? And I just didn't take notes on it. Okay.
Yeah, as we were talking about the White House in town.
We did, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right. We totally talked about that. All right, let me skip that into the next topic. How should the county mitigate illegal dumping and other nuisance issues?
And
we had 23 responses. The answers, let's see. So we had 19 people out of 23 say enforce the prohibition and fines against illegal dumping and abandoned property, including vehicles. And then, so all the different surveys actually answered the same stuff, the same top two, which was enforce the code and then bring programs alongside that help our elderly and our low income people to comply with the code. That was pretty much the main response. Is there anything else that you could think of?
Well, I think in the past, what's worked is the dump days. I believe in the past we've had when there was grant money available, either for tires or a collection days. What I've found what I have found anyway, and just looking at this life, is that some people just can't find their way to the dump. So,
like they don't know where it is?
Yeah,
or it's just too big of an effort.
Yeah, they don't have a vehicle, or yes, and the cost, and or all of that. So, so assistance in that way, when available.
Yeah. Good.
You know, and again, Clear Lake has done a fabulous job. You know, that's a community-driven program.
Citizens for Clear Lake?
Yes, in Clear Lake, where the group get together and they go out and do so. Again, you know, I mean, that's, you know, in just a community-driven area effort is to have some of our service organizations, you know, run some programs.
Cool. I'm writing that down. I need to go hang out with Akriti. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See what the written stuff is. Oh, well, there you go. Service groups. Right? Government should keep out of it. That would be lovely. Yeah. So same. Enforce the code and hold landlords accountable. Next one, how should the county ensure access to healthy food? We've got, I love this one, the local food access by encouraging farmers markets, urban farming, community gardening, food forests, and other similar activities. There was somebody oh, hey, Paul, welcome. By the way, just saw you there. Some other LAPAC was talking about using vacant storefronts for some urban gardening, like inside gardening and stuff like that, like making use of this vacant space. Let's go down to the writtens. Fruit trees, yes. Mm-hmm. Healthy food and food scarcity are different, huh? Organic markets, not cheap access to cheap and unhealthy food.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the farmer's market is not cheap to go and try to buy fresh fruits and vegetables.
I do like how they take EBT also, and the grant that they have at Farmers Finest anyway, that kind of doubles up the money that you get for EBT. So it's really nice.
Right.
But you're right, it's not cheap. Morning, Beth.
The other thing is partnering with, you know, again, we have this great community garden down here in South Lake County, you know, that Calpine has assisted the community with. So, you know, when we can partner with business entities or, you know, owners of property in order to, you know, be able to have a plot of land that in some way then, you know, to get county support with water, you know, if it's ideally, you know, it'd be closer to the center of town so that people can access it. But then that's also then who pays the bills, who pays pays for the water. So, you know, so programs, you know, to me, that's where the county could, you know, maybe step in to help, you know, ease the cost of operation and liability for whoever is the property owner.
Okay. Liability is a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Greta, Ruby just texted back saying, if the icons in the corner aren't working, you can try using the down arrow next to the icons and go to your settings. Let's see. Video effects and settings. I'm just checking out the webcam thing. And then she says, you should be able to pick up or adjust the proper settings for your computer to enable the video and audio. Settings.
Doesn't happen.
No?
Let's see.
Do you have a camera on your computer?
Yeah.
All right. She said it happened to her before she was using her headset. Otherwise, you can check the settings on your computer to see if you have the video and audio permission. Sometimes they get turned off.
That's one of the things that comes up in the beginning.
I think your audio just started on your computer because now I'm getting an echo from you.
Oh.
Yep. I can hear myself on your computer.
Okay, I just hung up. Can you still hear me?
We can hear you. This is progress.
Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
No. Now
All
I
right.
can't hear you either.
Well, crap.
Let's see.
Oh, and me saying, well, crap, was a good reminder for me to just tell everybody as a certain housekeeping measure that these videos are being saved for posterity and forever and will circle the web, ad infinitum. So let's please keep it PG on expressing our frustrations. Thank you. How should the county ensure access to quality healthcare? And the answers are, where are you? Oh, we just lost Greta. Dang it. Encourage the expansion of medical facilities, so clinics, things like that. A lot of the answer that came up in different LAPACs is the need for a 24-hour clinic, urgent care, not an ER. And then the other one is, lead and support multi-pronged efforts to attract medical professionals to Lake County. We've been talking about that approach for years. So what I like to see here is really supporting broadband because it gives us rural folk access to specialized medicine in a way that we're never going to get the medical professionals coming out here, or at least I don't know when or how, given our housing crunch and our remote.
I think it's improving our economy.
Could be.
We have to make strides forward in improving the economy in order to be able to attract those professionals. And as you said, broadband is a key component. So, but to your point about the urgent care facility, the Adventist in Lakeport is fabulous. There's one in Clear Lake and in Lakeport. I've been to the one in Lakeport a couple of times, and a great solution instead of taking that trip to the ER.
Totally. Yeah. Excellent. Anybody else? Income on or input on access to healthcare professionals or access to healthcare?
Yeah, the other thing is just having being zoned for to allow for that for healthcare offices.
Say that one again. I missed it. Ruby texted.
Being zoned appropriately to allow for the location, easy access for communities.
Like ministerial.
Correct.
Land use, removal of obstacles. So make ministerial. You know what else we could do is also to set up some objective design and development standards, because that way they don't have to go through design review, which is something that they'll have to do if it's a new structure or if it's a facade. And there's some things that I can waive, but I can't waive it on new construction. So let's say they're expanding their footprint, design review. So make ministerial and
I agree.
Create. That's a really good one. Thank you. Development standards. We're getting jurisdictions are getting pressure to do that for housing as well, like multifamily residential, and just finding different ways to remove government obstacles to development of multifamily residential. So that's one thing I worked on when I was in Ukiah, was setting up objective design and development standards for multifamily unit residential that extended everywhere, everything from duplexes on up. All right, question 21. How should the county ensure that residents have access to vital communication services?
Sorry, Maria,
Yes,
can you hear me? This is
a little.
a little.
Uh-huh.
If I can move in a little
Scooch.
closer.
Yeah, okay.
Is that better?
A little.
A little.
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was muted. I was trying to talk on the last question.
Okay, let me go back up. Hold on. Healthcare, is that where we are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom, I was noticing the better community events focused on real health comment. And I just wanted to recommend that the county continues to support the Blue Zones project, because I really feel like that's a footprint that's already developed that we can just easily follow and support those other real health alternatives.
Yes.
And
Good.
I just hope it doesn't go away.
And I think your background also, your experience would recognize and value healthy choices like activity and
Yes.
Trying to avoid getting us into these unhealthy situations in the first place.
Yes, and I think that
Yeah.
we're trying to do that in our updates of the plans too, to create more walking and more development that's conducive to walking.
Right, right. Excellent.
So that's good.
Good stuff. I'm wondering where Greta is. How should the county ensure that residents have access to vital communication services? So yeah, again, here's broadband, big leader. And improve cell phone coverage and reliability, because especially during our extreme weather events and hazard events, this could be a problem. Though it's a double-edged sword though, because everybody wants to make it easier to get cell phone connectivity and reliability, but nobody really wants to see the cell phone towers, because they're
Ugly.
ugly. Yeah. So I'm not sure how we're going to weigh that one, but right now we've actually got a permit for Kelseyville. When you're going to Kelseyville and you hang a left on Merritt and like all of Big Valley opens right up in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
They want to stick a 180-foot tower right on the highway side of the creek, right there. So it's like,
Wow.
It would like be the thing you see. It would probably look taller than Kanaktai when you're just coming down the hill. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do about it.
I
Because
thought
we're
it was
very
in.
limited.
I
Huh?
thought it was in the general plan to have those towers covered and look like trees.
Yeah, but
or
that's going to be a 180-foot butt ugly pine tree.
Well, we have 150-foot ugly pine trees right now. Trying not to say
Yeah,
the B
but
word
if
because you said use my kind voice.
If it's standing by itself without any other pine trees
Exactly.
around it, it's
Yeah.
going to be an eyesore.
And it's right on a ledge, so they're going to have to dig down deep into the dirt to stabilize the thing because it's right by the creek. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they should be next to other pine trees or up in a hill somewhere that's up with other trees, so they don't. stick
yeah,
out so
I
much.
had staff reach out to them so that they could give us a strong argument as to why they can't locate anywhere else, and they've done it. So I think we're in trouble because Kelseyville's going to have a fit. Anyway, but connectivity is important. Let's look at the write-ins. Oh, okay. Keeping the landlines, that's come up a lot. So, because we do have, I think it's 40% in California of our older population don't use the internet.
Correct.
So, do you guys have any great ideas? Because I really want to hear them. I know,
I'm a
right?
proponent of the hardened cell structures, but I know we can get better cell coverage without the big towers. They have on the ground antennas that if you drive through Napa, you won't see a lot of the big towers. They put them on the power poles, and they don't have quite the reach,
Oh yeah,
but they don't have the obnoxiousness of the giant towers.
That is a very good point. Yeah, small cells. That was a big thing a couple of years ago when they were working out legislation on that, but I haven't heard much about it. That would be nice.
It would be good to have more coverage in the Kelseyville area, though, because that 29 is certainly dead, going from Lower Lake to Lakeport.
Really?
Kelseyville. Lower Lake to Kelseyville? Yeah.
Yeah, depending on your provider, too.
The time. I cannot talk on the phone in that section, which is, safer.
If we only had a big mountain right there, we could put a tower on. It's so weird.
Right.
There are some towers up there already, aren't there?
Yeah, I think their argument was that they're at maximum capacity. That all the possible co-locating locations have already been co-located. So, but I haven't read the project. Anyway, that's coming.
Whose project is it?
Ooh, I don't remember. You usually don't always hear about which provider it is. It's like some nameless developer provider. All right. Oh, there was another suggestion for the community resilience centers that we're talking about setting up, like at the senior center and things, to have backup, like a Starlink access. So when we need to use those as like emergency gathering places, that people would have access to internet there.
That's a good idea.
But I wrote that down, hardened towers, Paul, because that's a really good point. How should the county ensure that residents have access to vital community resources and services? Now, this is more like government services, public facilities. So ensure that all neighborhoods have access to safe, well-maintained public facilities and utilities that meet the community needs now and as the community grows. Along Shoreline, we're actually talking about a specific location that has like a vacant church and right next to the community center and right next to like maybe a library or some kind of other big vacant building, setting that up as like a hub for the community in case of emergency also. And so that then would hit land use. We would take a look and the general plan land use designation amendments to make it easily amenable to that type of project. But what else? Right now, does Middletown serve mainly as an emergency center? Has it ever?
Usually it's the Rancheria that opens up.
Yeah, the casino.
Casino.
Yeah. Right, that's true.
They're the only ones with really the capability and the size wise to handle that. So there's the Lions Club, but it just doesn't have a big enough footprint.
Yeah. I liked how Hope City renovated the old equestrian clubhouse and used it for a number of years, and now it's a better building for everybody. I thought that was pretty cool.
See
go ahead.
very often that it's being used. I don't know what it's being used for.
I think it's back to being a club, right? Clubhouse.
Well, yeah, and it was supposed to. It's something we haven't resolved here in Middletown, in my mind. Just because in my mind, when it first was negotiated as the space, it was supposed to be available as a community building. So it's owned by Central Park and maintained by Central Park and primarily just used by Central Park. There's not much accessibility outside of, if you're not part of Central Park or part of the equestrian community, you're not using the building. So, although, as I understand, for a price, you can, but it's just not advertised as a building available with it's got a fantastic commercial kitchen in there.
Yeah. And big bathrooms and stuff.
Yes, but that's more of a community issue that we all need to figure out how to be a better community. So,
Mireya, I'm not sure if this is on the community resources spot, but there's a lot of areas in Middletown that don't have, or it's incongruous sidewalks. So it goes between dirt and sidewalk, and and broken pavement, and but areas that have a downtown like Middletown to keep those sidewalks up and maintained and wheelchair accessible. So that would be something in that area that would really help walkability around that community.
Good.
I feel like our community center with the library and the community room and the senior center and the park, the beautiful park that now has its own outdoor bathroom, hooray, 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 is a pretty good, I mean, it's a beautiful facility for our community, considering we only have 1,100 people in Middletown. I know it serves the surrounding areas too. I feel like it's adequate for the population, and we do have the possibility of doing events at the larger venues as needed. I think it's good.
Right. Yeah. Calpine Visitor Center is good. Middletown has a number of options.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Access to services. Adding an airport in South Lake County is a terrible idea. Okay.
Commercial flights. Uh-huh.
I didn't know we were adding an airport. Is that in here? No.
Support efforts to expand airport operations to provide commercial passenger service.
Oof.
It has to expand.
There's been discussion of
right.
airports are improving of air facilities here, but there's just not the terrain. I don't think you could do it.
Right. Yeah. That wasn't there an airport down in Clear Lake that they paved over? Now they did something. Okay.
Yeah, it's right across the street from Walmart over there.
Yep.
Yeah, we just took a flight with Lake Air Adventures with Frank a couple weekends ago, and he was pointing out airfield after airfield, and that used to be an airfield, and that used to be an airfield.
Wow.
And I was thinking, wow, that's amazing, and who cares? Because that wasn't what I was up there for, was to see all the old airfields.
I can see why it would strike his interest, though.
Yes.
Huh.
And I guess they're keeping the one at Crazy Creek Glider, which is now Brambles. They're keeping that as
But it's not public.
No, it's not public.
And it's not big.
It could be.
How should the county support local and small businesses? Encourage and support home-based business as a part of the local circular economy. Limit or prohibit development of new big box stores. That is a common Middletown theme.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, nobody really wants big box stores. They all want access. Like everybody wants a Target, but not here. I want it convenient, but not in my neighborhood. Yeah. Encourage local shopping. Definitely.
Well, usually big box stores come in groups, and we have that. We have that in the city of Clear Lake. And sure. I think if we want any more, and we've got the Marshalls now too in Lakeport. If we want any more, they should continue to be in those groups.
It is nice, especially since cities are very dependent on sales tax versus, the county being dependent on property tax.
Oh, good point. And as
so
far as supporting local businesses, this has always been a topic near and dear to my heart. And my answer always is, if you want the county to support local business, you need to support local business. You need to shop local. If you want the businesses to stay, it's not something from the top down, it's from the bottom up. And if people don't shop local, then you can't run a business in this county. It's really hard to make a buck.
Right now, the county has a tourism improvement district.
Which is great.
And some TOT tax that I think partially funds commerce, the Chamber of Commerce. But I can't really think of any campaign. We don't have a CAO of marketing anymore. We have economic development.
There's the One Team, One Dream.
That's awesome.
Is a really great
which is totally not county, but is supported by jurisdictions. Yeah.
Yep. I think for a small county, I think we do pretty well.
Well, and
I
to the point of one team, one dream, one of the reasons why it's successful is because it is a private nonprofit enterprise running it with the support and partnership of the city and the counties, both cities and the county, and other entities and organizations throughout the county. So I think, one of the ways is, for the county to be supportive of various different programs like that without bringing in the bureaucracy. So, so that's why that program really works.
I agree.
Yeah. Well said. How should the county support tourism economy?
One more thing on the business development is, and I don't know because I haven't dug into this and I haven't applied for like a restaurant or any type of a business, permit where I need to deal with environmental health. But there seems to be, and I'm not sure, what the connection there or the disconnect, but it seems like with many businesses that also have to deal with building and, with permits through the county and with environmental health, that there always seems to be some hiccup where, the delay for opening that type of a business that has to deal with environmental health and the county, gets waylaid to the point, where then they're losing money and losing ground way before they're able to open their doors, and that anticipated opening of the doors, that date, is delayed and delayed and delayed. I don't know what the hiccup is, but
I agree. I've seen that so many times.
But if we can identify that,
right?
I'm not sure whose task that is, but there's definitely a hiccup there.
Well, building division would be mine. That would be my task. But so far, we've got inspectors that go out. We're usually doing inspections like next day, or you can even do some same day. So I'm not sure what the hang up is either.
I feel like it's environmental health.
All right, let's blame them. I know that they're chronically short-staffed. Yeah, but okay. Need.
So just a point to consider.
No, that's a good one. Because we're asking what the county can do. So let's take a look at our processes to see where we can streamline. Yeah, there's Bill. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
We were just getting started to talk about 24. How should the county support tourism economy? We're doing good because I think each survey has maybe 28 or 30 questions. So we're moving right along. So how do you think the county can support tourism?
Well, I feel like as certified tourism ambassador, facilitator, trainer, that the TID, whose newsletters I get, is doing a great job. Every single newsletter, the engagement on social media and out there is up. And I think that what they produce is beautiful. And,
it is.
And I think the Lake County Chamber of Commerce, even though it's got a little hiccup right now without having a permanent CEO, but I think they do tend to support tourism well as well. So just as Monica said about the one team, one dream, if the county supports the entities that are already working tourism, I think that's the greatest support they can give. And I also think that if there's anything in zoning that helps tourism related hospitality type businesses to thrive, then that would be the other.
What do you think about short-term rentals?
Good question.
Because that's part of the tourism, but it's it's got to kind of weigh it. And the supervisors have not addressed short-term rentals yet, but they have sort of started getting curious about it. So I'm not sure if it'll come up in this, next year. But
So you're talking Airbnbs.
yep, Airbnbs. There is no regulation of those. We have a zoning permit and a minor use permit for bed and breakfast or bed and breakfast inn, which is dependent on the number of bedrooms allotted to that type of service. And so some Airbnbs come and get that, but the majority of the properties on Airbnb or any of those other short-term rentals have no permits.
Mm-hmm.
And what
Some of
about
them
a
pay.
tax? Do they pay a tax?
Some of them do. Not all of them.
Are they supposed to be?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when someone calls about it, we just tell them, we don't really have a permit for an Airbnb. We have bed and breakfast inns, but just make sure you're paying your TOT tax is all I got for you. So, but I can't tell you can do it there.
There's a lot of we still have a lot of build back still need to happen from Valley that we're probably 30% of build, and for us to say we can really open the doors to Airbnb when we can't take care of our local folks and can't house what used to be here. I think we need to work on that before we, but putting up something in place where that's regulated a little bit more or ensure that the transient occupancy taxes are collected on those, I support. But my worry is that we take up what could be permanent residences with temporary residents.
Yeah.
Yes. But for tourism in the rural area, it's kind of like you do. I mean, Airbnbs, are kind of a trend.
Yeah.
So, if we're promoting
some
tourism,
jurisdictions have made overlays where they want like the community has decided where it would like to see Airbnbs and where it wants to save housing stock. And so they kind of regulate it that way. But there are a variety of ways that jurisdictions do it. I'm just waiting for our board to want to do it or figure something out.
And I would agree, like with an overlay, so that perhaps we don't have, because I agree with Paul's comments, as far as that we do have a shortage on housing stock.
Yeah. That
we need to regroup on and try to move that forward. So, but for tourism, the other thing, I mean, one of our biggest downfalls is roads. So, is our access when we talk about tourism and the tourism
TID.
board, TID. Thank you. The tourism board, kind of promotes outdoor activities, which we have. We do have. Our area is beautiful, and we have so many days of sunshine. But again, Lake County remains difficult to get around. So roads remains an issue. So, but to that point, there was a time also that we had started, trails, definitely is, getting people out and getting people walking. What I was going to point out is there was a time when we had started a trail system, like even between the wineries wherever possible. So now our wineries have, kind of, fallen off a little bit with a hardship in the wine industry, but nonetheless, we can also be looking at the trail systems as far as in getting people walking from one point to the next along, our waterways, past our cell towers, whatever it may be, but just getting people out and enjoying the outdoors.
Yeah. In other communities like Cobb, they were talking about connecting residential areas to commercial areas via pathways as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great. And to schools.
EV chargers.
EV chargers, good.
Mm-hmm.
That work.
Right.
EV chargers that stay functional.
Yes, huge.
So I think short-term rentals should be allowed, and I hear the overlay idea, but I don't feel like that's quite right to tell somebody they own their house and they can't have somebody stay in a room because they're not in the area that allows that. But I do think that they should all pay TOT since the hotels have to pay it. They shouldn't have anything easier for them than the hotels.
Okay. Right. Let's see what else. Down to the written stuff. Butts Canyon to Four Season entryway. I drive Butts Canyon all year.
One nice thing about our lousy roads is that's why when we come over the mountain and we get here, we go, because there aren't that many people here because the boats are empty and it's hard to get here. So I don't support
That
that.
kind of like looking for the silver lining. Yay!
Yeah.
There's the potholes that keep us quiet.
To keep it quiet here.
Aggressively supporting Gwinnett Valley Lotus Land project.
Aggressively.
How do you think we could encourage development of abandoned resorts and hot springs? Kind of wondered that.
It's you need to make them tourist destinations where people want to come and stay. And I don't know if that's incentivizing the reconstruction or what, but I mean, there's got to be a draw. The draw before was that people would travel for a day to get somewhere to stay for a couple of weeks, and now it's so easy to get to places that that we don't have that. But there's got to be some other incentive, water parks or something that. I used to like that one that we had in Clear Lake. It's too bad it went away, but things for outdoor entertainment stuff.
What about, if it wasn't redeveloped to someplace people could stay, what about using interpretive or highlighting the history of them?
I thought that would be a great, some kind of driving tour of the county where you had a post with information and a QR code and you could scan it and see, oh, this is the old Hoburg Resort, and see the history and hear the history. And people could experience our county history just by driving around and scanning a post with a QR code on it.
That
Great
is so
idea.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to get the Heritage Commission working on that. QR codes around the county.
Kind of like the geo thing before when people used to go out on the treasure hunts.
Yes.
So that would be cool. So I would like to put in a plug for the last comment there, whatever the encouraging the development of abandoned resorts. Speaking of resorts, Harbin is devastated after the fire, coming back with a bang. So, and again, how do we better work with Harbin? They have visitors coming here from all over the place, all over the place. And their numbers are increasing. Yeah. Their numbers are steadily increasing.
Awesome.
So one of the reasons that Harbin works, I think, is that it is a church. And so they are skirting some of the rules that
taxes.
Yep. And I think that would be a hard sell on to create resorts and bring back hot springs, unless it was another church that did it. Because I just don't think there would be a good question would be for Mandala, how they're doing, because are they making it? Are they in the black?
Right. Well, we're going to be there for the Cobb in-person meeting.
Yeah,
You are.
Let's see. How should the county support a healthy local economy? Top answers are support business retention, expansion, and attraction efforts that diversify job opportunities and strengthen the local economy. Establish incentives. Consider development impact fee discounts or exemptions. We don't have impact fees.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure why that is even on there. I didn't read that close enough before we sent out the survey. All right. What else? What else can we do? Streamline things and lower fees. Yep. That we can look at. Force county department heads to live here.
I like putting a tunnel through Mount St. Helena.
Yes. Wouldn't that just be nice? That would be a lot less stressful, I think. That road is stressful.
It is. But again,
Oh, these write-ins are creative. They're thinking.
Huh.
you know what Christian says about the Six Sigma dirt road to the tasting room? He said it's their snob filter.
Ah, he is so good at marketing, isn't he?
He is. He is really good.
Yeah. So again, part of it, I'm going to go back to one team, one dream as far as in supporting local businesses. Again, the success that we've seen with that program is based on education. And helping those businesses gain the foundation that they need in order to be successful. So again, it's the county supporting programs like that. I'm going to just say it, kind of the county getting out of the way, getting out of its own way, getting out of people's way, but yet supporting programs that support our local businesses, supporting, yes, it would be great with the Chamber of Commerce has taken a hit. And one of the things that I see, and maybe Beth can add to this also, but we're such a small community, but we developed the tourism bureau, and we have the Chamber of Commerce. We have monies that are shifting as far as support monies that shift from the county. So at one time, the county used to give a significant amount of money to the Chamber of Commerce to assist with its business promotion. And then that went away and the money shifted and went to the tourism. And the same way to the TID, the same way, with the wine industry. So at one time, there were some efforts that were being put forward with the Wine Grape Commission and with the Winery Association. But as we develop these different organizations, the money and the support for those organizations kind of shifts. Now that we developed a new organization that's much needed, but yet then all the financial support and just overall support shifted to TID and away from those other entities and that are in a slump. And so it's almost like we have too many entities, not enough support to go around.
Interesting.
Anyway, just an observation.
So maybe remaining consistent on supporting the organizations that are supporting the local businesses.
The ones that are doing it right.
Yeah.
And that have a track record. It makes me think also of the Lake County Economic Development Corporation.
Yeah. They're good. They're doing good work.
They are. And they've been around for a long time. And they continue to develop their own programs to help local businesses. And yes, so again, instead of the county doing their own thing, support the things that are out there that are working.
Good.
And I haven't heard much from, I understand we have somebody who was hired at the county level. Ben
Rickelman?
Is that who that is?
Yeah, he's our deputy CAO in economic development. Mm-hmm. So I see him mostly working. He's doing a lot of work with broadband, the broadband initiative.
Okay.
And I can't remember what else.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's the only one that I hear about, but that doesn't mean that's the only thing he's working on.
Right.
Well, introduce into One Team, One Dream, and
yeah,
and the Lake County Economic Development Corporation.
All right. When I go next year, he'll be my +1. How should the general plan work to reduce wildfire risk in the county?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Switch off tourism and economy, put on emergency management.
Okay, Paul, this is yours.
Oh, I like the. I just looking at the survey, and PG&E undergrounding is huge. We that could be something that the county can kind of urge on the part of PG&E of undergrounding all the power lines instead of just what is targets of opportunity, because they're just doing little sections, and it's frustrating to see them pop back out of the ground and go overhead again, and so wholesale done of undergrounding. The vegetation practices of grazing, I think, great idea. It would take a whole lot of goats to get what we need done, but I mean that is certainly an option. And how do we? But the kind of the one that hits me is, how do you require vacant or absentee property owners to clear their property? And I think a better, well-funded fire safe council that can do the clearing, charge the property or landowner for that, and especially that the stuff that borders the roadways and around homes should be the biggest targets. But I think a better funded fire safe council that can really head that program up to give those clearances, because that's what we're really talking about when we talk about defensible space clearing. Is how do you? It's not you that does it; it's your neighbor that's not home, or treats it as a vacation house and doesn't do their clearing until a week before a red flag warning, and you're like, well, you should be doing it, if at all. So what is the hazardous lot abatement ordinance? Great thing. Just need more people in that division to enforce that. And then I think another is give folks the resources to do the clearing. So have some kind of, maybe it's the fire safe council again, where they go and they find vendors who are available to do the work around their homes. So I'm looking for somebody I need a tree taken down, or I need weed eating because I'm 75 years old and I can't do that. So how do they find the resources to take care of the problem themselves? And really that is empowering the local residents and landowners. And I'll put a plug in here for our program that's been wildly successful, and that's Operation Force Multiplier, where we hand out extinguishers and hand tools and training to local residents for free. We've had 12 or 10 successes so far with that program, where they have stopped a fire before it grew, everything from a vehicle fire to a structure fire. So that's been a wildly successful program, and we struggle with funding that every year. So it'd be nice to see that continue countywide.
I'd like to add to this too, because we have on our 30 acres have been doing a lot of work in the last few years, and we have gotten support through the North Bay Forest Improvement Program, which I know is now been discontinued, but the Clear Lake Environmental Research Center has taken on that, and they are working with us. And we're also this coming week going to have a prescribed burn on our property with the Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance. And so I would put those in the toolkit for homeowners to know about, and that there could be grants out there to help homeowners clear, especially when they've got larger acreage. And again, just encouraging people, passing out the knowledge, I think the Defensible Space program has made a great difference. Almost everybody knows what defensible space is now, whereas 10 years ago, they probably didn't. And so just to continue the education, and like Paul said, to have, whether it's the Fire Safe Council or Tara or whoever, to have a place where people can go to get all the information and the tools they need. I agree 100%.
One of the bullets in here says county fire protection district should do more work on burns. Once you start getting a governmental organization involved in defensible space burns or VMPs, it becomes subject to the CEQA process. And landowners through a prescribed burn association don't have nearly the requirements. So that landowner helping landowner is much more effective, quicker, and cheaper to get those not residential, kind of rural burns accomplished, land treatment without going through a government process. So it keeps the CEQA component out of that. So.
Yes, and you're saying that reminds me that Lake County Prescribed Burn Association is how I got involved in all of this in the first place.
There we go.
Through the Lake County PBA.
Perfect.
So they need to be on that list.
I didn't even know there was one of those. That's cool.
Yeah.
So this is super helpful for me to hear because we've been trying to figure out how are we going to do hazardous vegetation management on 60,000 parcels in code enforcement. And what I'm hearing that really works is no, that's not what we're going to do. Maybe what our government needs to do is find ways to support and edify and boost the programs that are already working on it.
Yep. And Firewise communities, that's the other one, because you get a discount on your home insurance if you're in a Firewise community and you've done the work. And we just had to apply for new home insurance, and I couldn't say we were in a Firewise community because we're in the county. We're not in a community, but if there were more Firewise communities out there, that would be good.
I would be surprised. Where do you live, Beth? Because there are several that overlap the county.
I live up Spruce Grove Road, kind of parallel to Jerusalem Valley, but not on Jerusalem grade.
As I think there is a Firewise community out there. Magdalena would really know that best, but there are.
I would be interested.
They're all over the county. It's not necessarily you have to be in a community. You just have to be represented by a Firewise council.
I'll look it up. Community. Thank you.
So the question is how should the general plan work to reduce the wildfire risk in the county? And part of that is from all of the comments that were just made is that our policies need to reflect that, promoting Firewise communities at understanding and realizing that we live in a rural community. And so there are extra efforts that need to be made in order to keep our communities and our county safe. So I think all of our policies need to reflect that.
Right. That's excellent.
But I think we should keep in mind Paul's comment about how it's easier to get it done without having to go through CEQA and bureaucratic. It's easier to get it done neighbor helping neighbor.
And we've got hold on a sec. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
You're muted.
You're going to need to unmute, Bill.
We can't hear you, Bill.
On my screen, it's up in the top right corner where there's a little mic picture. You click on the mic.
There we go.
There you are.
Perfect.
It's more fun to sit out here and listen to everything as it flies by out here. There's some great comments, and I would like to enhance on a lot of that. In my opinion, where having been through various committees and councils and all this other kind of stuff, I think a lot of it boils back to a couple of basic things. And one is having the money to be able to put out for the people and the time, in both cases, to be able to go out and enforce what's going on out there. There have been many times when I know people in Hidden Valley have called in for code enforcement to try to get them to come out and review over some stuff. And I see a lot of properties around here that have been and in driving through the county all the time, they're way beyond being taken care of by code enforcement, or it appears to those of us on the outside that code enforcement's not keeping up with the amount of issues and problem properties that are out there, for number one. Number two, I think the fire department has already analyzed for fire risk and everything. One of the big issues in this county has been a lot of the homeless have started fires. And so to improvise those programs or expand on those programs to try to do something with finding housing for our homeless and taking care of our homeless, which is not just our issue, it's everybody's issue. I'm not throwing that out. I'm just saying that's another area that we have issues going on out here. Insofar as enhancing businesses and stuff like that, you got to have housing. You got to bring people here. If you set up a business, the expectation is you're setting up a business to make money. If you don't have the people here to make money, then it all kind of goes in one vicious circle. And so all those have to work together. And I think what we're doing here and what you're setting out in the planning department is a good beginning to that, and it's a plan. Unfortunately, these plans like this take a long time to implement. So just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there. Thank you.
Yeah, I think trying to figure out ways that code enforcement with our limited resources can sort of maximize the effect that we have with our time may not be the way I was thinking it was. Because maybe it is, maybe the Risk Reduction Authority is a better one to take lead, and we can support them by looking for grants that would help to support the organizations and the groups that are really getting stuff done. Because code enforcement takes a very long time. We have due process rights at every stage. Then we have to get a warrant before we can go and do an abatement, and all that stuff takes a lot of time. And on other things like removing property from people's parcels, if it's not trash, then we have to store it somewhere for 60 days. So I think maybe we get a better bang for our taxpayer buck if we just sort of help the groups that are already doing it. Just help them to survive.
And one of those is Firewise. And
Exactly.
Firewise, at least in South County, I think, has done a fantastic job of trying to promote Firewise facilities and services and working with your neighbor in South County. And I think it's really been a good thing. Hidden Valley Lake started that. Phil, can't think of Phil's last name right off the top of my head. But he started that program down here, got us certified. But the other one that is, as far as the wildfire risk is concerned, that's helping us as much as anything, and we don't even want to admit it, and that is the insurance companies.
Yeah.
I had my own bout with the insurance companies just this last year, where all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, they decided that they weren't going to renew my insurance. And fortunately, I had a good agent, and he inquired with the insurance company, and with his help and some other issues here, we were able to get the insurance company to reverse their decision and agree to insure us. But it cost me about $5,000 in tree branch removal and everything else. And it all revolved off a simple fact that the insurance companies were looking at Google Earth pictures of properties and seeing where all these issues or all these properties had these issues, but they're dated. I mean, when was the date of the picture of that they were looking at? So the insurance companies are helping to mitigate that too, but all of that's turning into a big problem. And the fact that we're having to pay out more and more money for insurance on our properties here should encourage people to go out there. But that's those that want to insure properties. It all boils down to neighbor helping neighbor. that's what we really need to do here. So.
But going back to the general plan, again, as far as in policies, and one of the things that we've kind of been talking about here also, as Beth had mentioned, is education. So again, incorporating education, and I'm thinking about, basically we all just received our property tax statements. So, and on the envelope, and I know this is something that I was involved with before, but on the outside of the envelope, it basically states that we're in an agricultural community and stuff, and what you can expect, in living in this rural area. But if we did something similar to that, as far as, again, within our policies, with when you get a building permit for building, especially when you're building on the outskirts of an area, that you're also given as part of your packet, information about how to properly, fire protect your area, and what, kind of written up. It's not, I guess you can't really make it mandatory, but maybe we can, but strong suggestions of what to do, around your property to maintain, the safety as you're, building wherever, whether it's within a community growth boundary or outside a community growth boundary. But, incorporating that educational piece and that contact information, again, into our general plan policies for building in certain areas of our county. And then having that trickle on down to actually, handouts given, at the county level, the building department, wherever during the permit process.
Good. So more public outreach for education and connection to resources. Very good.
Correct. Oh,
Okay.
well stated.
We're down to our last 14 minutes. I think we can get done because we just have 27, 28, 29. We got 3 questions left. How should the general plan address flood risk in the county? Top answer ensured. Go ahead. Yeah, right.
Not build in flood zones.
Yep, we're doing that mostly. I like the holistic planning approach.
Where's that?
That is number 3.
Yeah, I see.
Promoting partnerships. I just think when all our departments and agencies are talking together, we're just a lot better off. It's more, it's like 1 plus 1 equals 5 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, that's a good goal.
Mm-hmm. Maintain dams and levees.
Yeah.
I would like to see in Shoreline and Upper Lake just continuing to support the Middle Creek Restoration Project, get that back into a wetland.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, to promote whenever possible the continuancy and restoration of wetlands, because we've really done a number on this lake by taking away so much of them.
Yeah, I'm encouraged. It seems like I see a lot more tulies along the shoreline than I used to, which is awesome.
Good.
What else? So preserving open space and ag areas. Yep.
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 Yep. It's interesting. We took over, community development took over the National Flood Insurance Program that was previously maintained over at Water Resources. And so it's been a very steep learning curve since as soon as we took it over, we were already behind on preparing like our every 2-year audit on what was done. And so, wow, we've learned a lot. But one of the things that I think might ding us, and we don't like to get dinged because when we get dinged, it means everybody's flood insurance goes up. So what we'd really like to do is maintain where we are right now while it's kind of settling in and we're kind of wrapping our heads around it. And then eventually do the things, the more of the outreach, the more proactive stuff that'll keep lowering our score so that everybody's flood insurance goes down. One of those directly affects land use planning because we have an open space general plan designation and zoning district but it allows for certain types of development, and FEMA doesn't like that. They don't want anything in open space. So we're going to need to take a look at that as a way to modify it in the future for this. Just happens we're modifying our general plan, which is a really good time to take a look at that and get that tweaked so that going forward, we're in a much stronger position when it comes to mitigating flood risks. So anyway, that's just something we got going on right now. What else? Let's see what they wrote in. Beavers. I'm all over that. Let's record that. Beavers.
And maybe that was my comment. Don't build homes in flood zones. Maybe I wrote that. I don't know.
Bill, are you aware that Hidden Valley levee needs serious work? Have you heard anything about that in Hidden Valley? You're still muted. It says Hidden Valley levee needs serious work. Could be a hazard to hundreds of residents and homes.
Well, there are homes in Hidden Valley that are in a flood zone, and I think Hidden Valley and the planning department have worked together to identify those flood zones. And I know a couple of contractors that are, building out in that area, and it has flooded. What I also realized is that the levee is in dire need of some repair out there. And I think it's been up in the air as to who has the responsibility to try to maintain that levee to keep it in. I know CSD and the association have worked together for quite a long time to try to mitigate that. But then we also have some issues, the way Coyote Creek comes down and goes through the lake and comes out and dumps into Pewter Creek. Some of that has to do with elevation issues and stuff like that as well. And I know that was part of the things that had to be addressed by that development that was trying to go in out there, Valley Oaks or whatever it was.
Which is why they wanted to just move it around.
Yeah, they wanted to not to cut it off. Well, oh no, what he wanted to do, I think, if I remember correctly talking to him, that they wanted to dump directly into Pewter Creek rather than come down to Hartman Road and dump into Pewter Creek. But what they found out, from what I understand, is again that the elevations didn't have it so that it could drain properly out there. They also ran into some of that issue when they were trying to come up with a way to dredge the lake. But yes, there is homes, and homes have been damaged in Hidden Valley due to that. Most of those homes probably were not built the way they should have been to begin with. But that's like trying to tell people on Russian River that they don't need to build their homes on stilts. Yeah, any place you go, you knowingly go into and violate those issues, you could and will probably someday have a problem.
Right. Yep. Good point. How should the general plan improve emergency preparedness and response capabilities?
I was liking the new community newsletter but I don't remember getting one recently.
What, from who?
From whom? I feel like it was from the county. But what department? I couldn't say.
We did just start a county-wide, an all-county department newsletter.
Yes.
I think it comes out quarterly.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
It just comes out quarterly. But
okay.
But to that point, I think this was excellent. I just received I own a couple of properties in the Kelseyville Riviera, and I just received a newsletter from the Kelseyville area about fire evacuations, or just evacuating the area. and sent it to my 2 tenants in that area. But it was very thorough with mapping, and so, that's the first time I've ever received that.
They've got really good fire councils out there
Yeah.
in the river.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, again, so speaking to the general plan, again, in policies, encouraging, again, you don't have to make it mandatory. It doesn't have to be shall, but encouraging that our homeowners and our communities, inform the local residents of evacuation routes. So the last item listed there too is create a list of community members that may need assistance. I was very impressed. I remember this, years ago when the fire happened there in the Lower Lake area. And I was quite impressed with maybe Paul can add to this, but I was quite impressed with the local fire station there. They actually had that list, or a fairly complete list of elderly folks or people handicapped in some sort, that they knew where they were at and what their needs were.
Yeah.
We've talked about that kind of a list, but it's there's a fine line between identifying somebody and a location, and personal rights of confidentiality stuff. So yeah, HIPAA, that's a challenge. For me, on the emergency preparedness response, South County doesn't have a NOAA weather transmitter on Mount St. Helena. That is one area that is missing for radio notification. It's been talked about with Moak and the tribe about getting one up there, but that would be a huge help with communication and emergency notification in the South County.
Did you say that was NOAA?
Yeah, the NOAA Weather Radio Emergency Broadcasting Network. That there's no transmitter in the South County, so Middletown, Hidden Valley is not covered by one of those radios.
Okay.
And then the multiple communication methods, I go back to the hardening of communication towers. Should have 7 days worth of power at those and be undergrounded for power up to them, because you don't want in a power safety shutoff for the cell towers to go down, because most everybody is on cell phone technology now and not on landline. So keeping those towers up should be considered critical infrastructure. And the middle mile is going to help us. That's the line going in from basically the casino to the county line for AT&T to get us fiber into the county. So that's going to really help with broadband and cell communications up here. Just connectivity is going to help with that.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Good. Anything else?
I wanted to add on to that, the privacy and HIPAA concerns. If the fire departments put out to residents in their area, if you would like to let us know if you have any concerns about evacuation, wouldn't that be okay?
It is fine, and we can. You just got to be careful on how we warehouse that information or store it. So yes, we would like to know if we have somebody that's compromised and can't get out. We did a pretty good job during the Boyles fire of getting multiple people who were homebound out of those structures. But if we can identify them early, then we know who we're going into, instead of when the fire's going, we got to get grandma out of the house, and then we're peeling fire resources off to get folks out.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
I mean, that's one of the benefits of us having such small communities, that, hopefully we could put something like that into play.
Well,
to take care of those in our communities in need.
Yes, we really ought to be doing it by our neighborhoods and knowing that who in our neighborhood needs help.
Yeah, and you can usually grab a Meals on Wheels person and go, where do you deliver to? And that's pretty much where we need to go. And
that's good thinking. Out. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say we can rely on our senior centers for those areas that have good senior centers.
All right. How should the general plan best prepare for the prepare the county for extreme temperatures, including extreme heat and cold.
Wow.
That's our last one, I think. Yep, last question. Then we'll do a little bit of what's upcoming, and then I will no longer demand your time. Set you free. Extreme temperatures, hot and cold. So the community resilience centers, consistently a popular answer.
Yes.
Financial assistance for or reduced costs for energy retrofits, cooling, and ventilation. Yep. I liked the just during regular time, like more shade structures and parks and things like that.
And also down at the
Water.
bottom, promote the use of drought tolerant green infrastructure, including landscaped areas as part of cooling strategies in public and private spaces. So I think that definitely needs to be a consideration when development is happening, that there are techniques and out there for mitigating wide temperature fluctuations and how you build and how you landscape.
Good.
We have one. Well, actually, we have Hidden Valley Pool, which is you got to be part of the neighborhood, but the Middletown Pool is the only two swimming areas in the South County for people to cool off. That's another challenging item when it gets hot, cooling residents off. Yep.
At least we have those. A lot of communities in the county don't have
Very true.
any public pools. We also
Lakeport
have
has a
some-
splash pad,
Yes, they do.
Which is
which is
amazing.
very popular when it's working.
Yeah. And we also have water holes in South County that a lot of people visit.
That's cool. And we have Blue Lakes. Boy, does Blue Lakes get popular.
Mhm.
What else? Bill, I got to tell you, I love your clock. I can see it right behind your head. What are those fish? What is that? Those are totally cool. All right, sorry, I'm back. I was distracting. Let's see.
Squirrel.
I know, right? Truly. Consider
Yeah,
a
you know
bypass
what?
around Middletown. That was
My wife has this way of coming up with a lot of unique things. That's all I
I
got to say.
love it.
She does a great decorating job.
Yeah. All right.
You know
Anything
what?
else?
Well, just one of our problems as far as with all the fires and stuff and the loss of the trees, we've lost a lot of shade and cooling.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, working towards getting that back, but in a safe way.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hot. July was really, really hot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was hard to get through.
Yeah.
So, also as far as in policies or whatever in construction of homes, to be positioned correctly. So, for the sunrise and sunset.
And what's facing
What's the
south?
correct west? So what's the correct orientation?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking
But
about
it's a
that.
good idea. Whatever it is, we like it. All right.
I think you want to limit your glazing on your south wall.
Yes, exactly.
And that would also be a really good place to have deciduous landscaping, deciduous trees planted.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, you can plant the trees there, but unfortunately, with some of this new planting stuff and firewise stuff, there again, to be firewise, you got to be far enough away, and it takes a while for those trees to grow. So that's
Yeah.
I think the everything you got going here is that the county has done is doing a great job. The hardest part is getting the communication in place to let the people know where these cooling areas are, and then maybe I know for some people in Hidden Valley, et cetera, just being able to get to those areas, transportation, in other words, can be an issue because they don't have the money or the cars or the vehicles or the gas.
Yeah, that was one of these like set up shuttles.
Knowledge and communication to get there.
Mhm.
So those can all be issues.
Good.
Okay. But I think the county does a pretty good job of what it's doing now.
Well, we're kind of getting the hang of it now. We've had so many emergencies.
Yeah, it's definitely better than it was 10 years ago as far as communications are concerned.
I can remember Valley Fire rocked my world, and I know I was not alone. It was,
Yeah.
we were in a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, all of us were. I like the other response of encourage replacement of old mobile homes with newer homes and also encouraging people to get out of RVs because I know that's still happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But I'm not exactly sure how you would do that.
Oh, we need housing.
It comes down,
Yeah,
well, and it comes down to money too. If
Yes,
you
it
can't
does.
afford a stick-built house and all you can afford is an old mobile home, then that's what you're going to live in.
Pretty much. All right. I think we're done with our survey. So
Okay.
I sent out this morning, a Word doc of it's a compilation of the current policies, objectives, and implementations in the Middletown local area plan. And so what I'd like to do, since we're getting really close to the wire of the end of LAPAC season, which is our in-person meeting on Friday evening, it's going to close out LAPAC season for the most part. I'd like it if you could go ahead and review that list on your own. The way I found was easiest for me to do it was I'd focus on the main stuff, like the policy itself, and see if that needed changing. I just went all through policies first and then went back to objectives and sort of took a look at if those needed to stay or go away. You're going to mark either a K for keep it as it is, which means we're going to pull it up into the update and just keep it as an ongoing policy or objective. Or you can put D for discard, and we just don't need this anymore. Or C, which is change. So we still want to keep it, but not quite the way it is as is. And we're going to focus at our next virtual meeting on all the C's. Additionally, the design guidelines for Middletown are kind of used, at least I refer to them as like a template for how to get it done. So, but I'd like us to take a look at the design guidelines and see if there's anything that we feel is ineffective or should be updated. And so I sent that to you in a PDF. I'd like us to maybe just talk through that together as a group. And then lastly was areas of special study, just to see if we want to keep them, if we don't feel like we need them, or if we need to update those as well. So that is all in one email that I sent to you this morning. Our next meeting, and I put the dates of those meetings, stop sharing. I put the dates of our upcoming meetings in there, but let me just tell them to you right now when I find them.
Is it 13th?
Yep, I think so. I think it's the 13th and the 15th. And I just wanted to show you what the list looks like. Oh, wow, they did a good job. They did a better job than I did. I had staff doing this. Theirs is nicer. So it's a little more visually consumable than mine was. Yeah. So you just go through them. It's a lot. Do what you can.
It is. It's 26 pages.
Okay, don't look at it anymore. Just when you feel like sitting down for a while.
Can I ask you?
Special study areas, though.
Yes. I think we have 3 of them in Middletown, but I don't remember which ones they are. So the purpose of special studies is sort of mini communities or areas within our community that require special design or policy guidance.
Oh, Coyote Valley.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yes. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's good. Take a look at it. If you have questions during the week, feel free to let me know. Let's see.
I have a question. I have a question kind of not pertaining to this that you're bringing up, but because I know that Greta had this question also, is why was there a recommendation to move the northern boundary of the Middletown
I can answer that.
area?
I can answer that because that was my recommendation along with Dan Terrell's recommendation.
Go ahead, Beth.
Because that includes Jerusalem Valley, it includes the area where I live, and a lot of us that live in these areas do the majority of our business and try and send our children as well to Middletown school districts. I'm just so much more connected to Middletown than Lower Lake. And I think most of the people in Jerusalem Valley are. So that was why. But on hindsight, it probably has more to do with moving the MUSD districting and also South Lake County Fire. You know, we're locked out of South Lake County Fire programs. But I have a building in Middletown, which I'm unfortunately paying ridiculous amounts of property tax on because of Measure H or whatever that went through for the South Lake Fire Council, but I was not able to vote on that personally because I don't live in that district. So that doesn't feel quite fair. That was taxation without representation. But anyhow, that's
moving planning areas won't change fire district lines.
Yeah, I just thought maybe it was a start.
So make sure you hold on to that one for when we're in our in-person meeting, because Vince Black gave pretty convincing argument for actually moving the line to scoop in all of Jerusalem Valley into Lower Lake. So I'll be interested to hear your input there.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just wondering, what goes into play there with, because, so that's Beth and Dan. How many other people live in that area that are affected that have no clue of this recommendation or have no voice in whether, where they want to be, or do they care? So
right. Well, it comes down to the actual nitty gritty of life and funding sources and grant deadlines is, hey, I'm working with everybody who shows up. But I cannot go out to Jerusalem Valley and go door to door knocking. I just can't do it. So, but
I guess my question was just along the line of how do you go about moving a line, like that?
Right. So what'll happen is part of the overall timeline. We're going to gather all these recommendations. I'm probably going to need to be the one that makes a choice, taking a look at all the input, and then the week after, this is my calendar for this week to finish up LAPAC season. And then this next week, you'll see big old hunks. That's where I'm going to be going through all of our recommendations and all of my notes and drafting actual deliverables from each planning area to send to the core team. And then we're working on, we'll be working on drafting the actual documents, December, January. I thought we were going to have them out in January, but we're not. The drafts probably won't be out until spring, like May. And at that point, I'm going to reach out to all the LAPACers again and try to herd cats and get us all back to take a look at these draft documents and so that y'all can tell me, what did we miss? Did we get this right? Is there anything now that we're reading this document in front of us that we're thinking it new that we didn't remember last time that should get added in? So that starts the whole editing process with GPAC meetings and LAPAC meetings and plenty of public stuff. And that's a really good time to send that draft planning area boundary map out to Jerusalem Valley if we can, or, just a quick and easy QR code so that people can get on our website and take a look at that map if they care. And if they don't care enough to look at it, after all we've done with our outreach, we're just going to do the best we can. And then, it's hey, if you didn't check it out, I don't want to hear you whining for the next 20 years. Well, not that hardcore, but our goal is to really make sure we get a lot of input right now.
Okay. So one other question, as far as, and this is just from my past experience with doing this, is that there is often recommended zoning changes. as well, in order to make sure that we're zoned appropriately for, what have we been missing as far as in commercial growth and development or in housing or what have you.
Mhm.
When are we taking a look at that, or when can people make recommendations on,
That is
potential?
right now. State law requires that our zoning districts be consistent and in compliance and synchronized with land use designations on the general plan. So it's right now when we're talking about changing land use designations that will then be reflected in the zoning map update, which will take place after Lake County 2050 happens. That's when what we need to do is we will have gotten the community's vision, which is the general plan and our area plans. And we then have to do a comprehensive zoning code update, which includes the zoning map. But it won't be so much, what do you think we should do now? Because that's what we're doing now. It'll be a lot, we'll have a lot less public outreach because we're just we're making the updates to the zoning code and the zoning map now consistent with what was conveyed to us during the general plan update process.
Okay.
You'll still have some input,
So-
regular stuff
Because I just
whenever we
know
do
that
work on that.
I just know that, since we're going through all the area plans and the general plan, that, in order making zoning changes now, as opposed to making them throughout the year where they have to go in front of the board of supervisors, et cetera, and you can only make 4.
You can make 4 general plan amendments. You can do a gazillion zoning changes, but you don't usually see them separated because our general plan land use designations very closely mirror our zoning districts. So you rarely will be able to change a zoning unless you're already also changing the general plan.
Right.
Land
You have
use,
to make a general plan amendment as well. Yes. Okay. So,
and that's why we've been encouraging property owners who want to make those land use changes to come forward right now, because you can get it done for free. You just have to wait till it's all adopted at the end of 2026.
Okay, so how do we submit those?
You send them to me.
Just send them to you.
Yeah. And we have gone over a few. We had a couple of them in Lakeport. Michael Santarelli had one down in Lower Lake. And I think that's all I've gotten so far. So yeah, if you have them, send them in as soon as possible, because I am presenting them to the LAPAC for their input.
That's what my question was. Are we actually going to be looking at the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you could send them in as soon as possible. I don't feel comfortable just making that recommendation without LAPAC input.
So in our next meeting, can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, we can talk about any recommendations that come in before our next meeting, but we're going to be real pinched for time because we totally need them ideally no later than next Friday, because that's our last LAPAC meeting. And then we need the recommendation. Then I start working on recommendations the week after that. But yeah, absolutely. If one comes in time for our virtual meeting or in-person meeting, we'll just throw it in. We'll have as many LAPACers there as possible.
So otherwise, there's no zoning changes on the table.
The next opportunity may come when we're reviewing drafts.
But I mean, the county.
Oh, and then
doesn't have
otherwise, otherwise you can still come you can apply for it as, just like a regular person, and it's thousands of dollars and
I'm not being clear. I mean that as of this moment, there are no plans to change any of the zones except for when you get something from a person who's making a specific request.
Not necessarily. Our in-person LAPAC meeting next Friday is the chance for us to talk about any land use designation changes. Okay. But that's why I'm saving it for our in-person meeting, so we can all take a look at the same maps.
That's great.
Okay. So for instance, Maria, also, we, in the last meeting or whatever, we talked a little bit briefly about, like the area south of town. So, and you had mentioned or whatever, possibly doing a feasibility study, of the area south of town and what we can do. And, there's, as I said before, that, in the past, there were some major, during the time of big development and stuff, there was some developmental pressure, that was, we had several projects that came forward for the south of Middletown corridor, where people were looking at developing. Not very many of them went through, if any of them, and they didn't go through basically because of the way that the area is zoned. So it was inconsistent with both the general plan and the area plan. But if that is an area, given that there is a sewer line down that stretch, no water, there's no water, there's sewer that stretches down that way, so there's some, piece of infrastructure, but how do you go about then, as far as at first we'd have to have a feasibility study done to see if that is a potential area for growth and development. And then, and if it was, then there are perhaps maybe some parcels that should be rezoned, in that area. So for instance, I look at, and I'm a big fan of not, getting rid of agriculture, protecting agriculture. But
Right.
On the other hand, I do know that there are some ag pieces down that way that have no access to water. So, are not developed or, have never been developed into ag, are not developed into ag, likely won't be because there's no infrastructure for ag, so perhaps that is, something that should be looked at, rezoning in order for it to be more beneficial for the entire community and the stretch of I guess I just always feel bad for it. We've got this bit of population where Greta lives, down at the end there at south of the county here and stuff, and they seem to be somewhat disconnected. Is it worthwhile to, connect us or not?
I think those are great questions. Let's make sure we cover that then at our in-person LAPAC meeting, because it could then be like a priority could be increasing connectivity or developing a commercial center in this location. And then the objectives or the implementations could be, when funding allows, conduct a feasibility study, which would have to be outsourced. So, because I don't do those, but maybe Ben could, I don't know. And then provided that there is great potential or reason or infrastructure available to support this, then the county will initiate a county-led general planned land use designation and zoning rezone.
Mm-hmm.
We could maybe do it like that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, again, for me, I've just kind of always thought that we have the casino there. We have the rancheria. So that has planned, some future development. So, regarding, that's kind of out of our planning jurisdiction as far as whatever the rancheria does, but nonetheless, it does impact. What goes on, as we've seen, so often, with the traffic accidents that happen with the casino, with people entering and exiting there. So I think, those are realities that we have to take into consideration. So if we have growth there that's outside of our realm of jurisdiction here, but yet it's there, we can't ignore it. And the same way we can't ignore that we have this group of people that have water issues on an annual basis.
We may want to also take into account all the land that the Middletown Rancheria just got put into trust, and what they plan to do with it. Because if it's a big increase in, thanks, Beth. If it's a big increase in residences, that could support an increase in commercial development there too. So let me see if I can get that list from Moak again of the properties.
So I was unfamiliar with that. So the land has been moved into trust?
Yep.
So that's the Horn Ranch across the highway?
I don't remember. I just remember there are a lot of different APNs.
Yeah, and probably a parcel that's south of them as well.
Yeah. Maybe if we could get some more information on that, we could better
Yeah,
plan.
because I mean, that's a huge impact to the
Sure.
Middletown area and community.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, my pleasure. Let me write that down. And that's all I've got for us today. Anybody have anything else? If not, I will see you on Wednesday. Thanks for sticking around.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Talk to you later.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.